I was told I shouldn't make a video on this topic, and so that's why I'm making the video on this topic. So after 21 years in corporate, working in financial services, in marketing and product management type of roles, after having done an MBA at the age of 43, I left the corporate world without a plan and after having been on stress leave. And so if you're in a place where you feel like your life purpose and your career just aren't aligning anymore and it's causing you physical health issues, this video is for you, because my 3 key takeaways that I have from this experience, it was 4 years ago that this happened, that could help you in deciding whether you stay or go or what your next steps could be. So I mentioned I was on stress leave. What I was experiencing was physical symptoms of stress. I hadn't reached burnout yet, but I knew that's where I was heading. I was having heart palpitations. I couldn't take deep breaths in. I felt like there was this huge heavy weight on my chest that I could not shake off or get off me. I was constantly crying. Everything would just set me right off. I could not sleep. I had no appetite, or the opposite, I was binge eating. So I'd either go from not eating anything to gorging myself. I was not very patient with family members, my kids, that type of thing. And I could hear and feel my heart pounding. My heart was constantly pounding, and I could hear it in my ears constantly. So this was something that felt like it was becoming normal for me, but something made me wake up to the fact that if I let this continue, it was going to get worse and worse and worse and become other issues that would be harder to repair. So I needed to stop it then and there. I went to my doctor, and over the course of a month, we talked about what I was experiencing and what I thought the issue was, and everything kind of pointed to my job. There were 2 reasons why I was feeling this way, and number 1 was my boss, and number 2 was I had fallen out of alignment with my job. I was no longer enjoying or wanting to do that work, being at this company and working on these projects. And it was not a bad job. Like, anybody that wanted to be in marketing, was familiar with financial services, would have loved this job. It was a good job, a decent company, but it was not for me anymore. It took me some time to realize that. I thought it was entirely my boss, because this boss, his management style did not align with what I needed as a human being. And I was not the first person to have experienced this under his helm. I had been there for several years, and it had finally chipped away at me enough that it was affecting me physically. So I got my doctor's note. I got my doctor on side to recommend that I step away from the position for a certain amount of time. I went to HR. I told them what was happening, what I was experiencing. I contacted my boss and I said I was going on leave. I felt really bad about this. At this point, I didn't feel bad telling him because I couldn't get away from him fast enough. I felt bad for the people that were going to have to take on my work because I was stepping away. But I've learned that sometimes you got to put yourself first. So then I went on leave, and then 2 months later, the company was forcing me to come back, essentially saying, if you don't come back, you don't have a position. I knew I wasn't ready yet. I was seeing a therapist. I was working through my stress-related symptoms, trying to manage the emotions, the mental state, like get that all sorted out so that I could become the healthier version of myself to be able to return to that position and kind of endure what I knew it was going to entail. So I contacted my boss at that time and said, okay, this is the deal. They're making me come back, so I'm coming back. So we talked a few times about me coming back, and then 9 a.m. Thursday morning, it was a Thursday, we had a meeting set up so that he could kind of brief me on everything, and knowing that I was not ready to come back yet, but I was coming back. And we meet in this 9 a.m. meeting, and and he's going through the laundry list of all the projects that are on tap and how important they are, the visibility of them, the stakeholders, the deadlines, all of it. And if you're kind of thinking like, wow, that's really crappy because like I'm just fresh off stress leave. I'm not even ready to come back. And he's like giving me this big basket of to-dos and going, this is everything that you've got to do. And then he asked me the question that changed everything. He, after laying this all out, said, Jada, I want to know, are you 100% committed and 100% engaged? And as I'm even saying this, it's just giving me chills. I could not even hold my voice. Something erupted from inside of me that made me just say, no, I am not engaged and I am not committed. So where do we go from here? And then that's when employee relations got involved, and I was like, I cannot come back into this position. And they agreed. And then I left. What did I learn now looking back? It's been 4 years. And what can help you? Number one, you cannot heal in the place that made you sick. I so badly wanted to make it work. I so badly wanted to have the job that I had, worked my way towards, have the health benefits and the retirement plan. Not that the retirement plan was very good, but anyway, to have the stability, even though this company, it felt like every quarter they were laying people off, have that false sense of stability. And I like the people. I'm not going to lie. Most of them I liked, and I liked going into work or having calls with them and connecting with them, going for coffee, that kind of thing. And so I liked the familiarity and the perceived safety of the role. But I realized after the fact, I could not heal in the place that made me sick. I had to step away from that place physically to not have those characters in my life any longer, and to be free from that environment, to allow myself to let go of that feeling of fear, of lack of safety, of, things are not going to be okay. I needed to remove it out of my head, remove myself physically, so that I could actually allow the healing process to begin and continue. That was my first big takeaway. The second big takeaway was that when your body is screaming at you because you're doing something that is out of alignment with what your true path is, it's going to continue to scream louder and louder and louder, possibly give health issues and make it really bad until you listen. Your body is almost like the last step in a whole slew of signs that come your way. At least this is what I was experiencing. I was receiving signs along the way, and I just kept suppressing them. I just kept pushing them over to the side, thinking, everything's fine. I'm fine. Like, I'm good. Maybe one day I'll change things around. Maybe one day I'll get to that place where I can do something different when things are more stable at home. We have a bigger savings pot. My kids are in high school or university or that kind of thing. And then I'll change gears. I feel like my life plan was not that at all. And because I wasn't following those signs, I wasn't following those inklings, I wasn't paying attention, I wasn't following what I was meant to do, my body was like the last line of defense to say, you have to listen or we're going to force you to stop. And I feel like that's when burnout happens, that forced stop, where you have like a health crisis. How many times have we heard people talk about, I got really, really sick, and then I had to take stock of my life, and I realized what was really actually important to me, and then I did a total 180, and now I'm doing this thing over here, right? We hear that all the time. And so I realized that was the trajectory, that was the path that I was on, unless I stopped and listened. And my third takeaway from all of this was not getting sucked into things that I thought were the solution because I was desperate. I bought so many marketing courses, online courses, learning how to do like email marketing, build funnels, even more coaching certifications. I bought all these things, tens of thousands of dollars. I don't even want to add it up because it would probably make me throw up. But I bought all these things thinking that they're the solution. That's what I needed to be able to become an entrepreneur and not have to go back into corporate. I wasn't actually listening to what I needed to do. I was constantly following what I was hearing outside of me, where so and so had the answer. And if I just bought their thing, or I had a session with them, or I did this course, I would have everything that I needed to be able to not have to go back to corporate. And while I did learn a lot of things and it was fun to do some of these courses, it wasn't actually what I needed. What I needed to do was stop and actually take stock of, number one, what are my skills? What kind of things come easily to me that I enjoy doing? And what am I being guided to do? So if money was no object and I could do anything in the world that would serve humanity, that would, help other people, so I'm not just on vacation binging Netflix, what is a thing that I would want to be doing? And it took me a long time to get to that place because I spent these last years doing all kinds of things that I actually didn't even really want to do. I just thought that that's what I was supposed to be doing because that I bought into the marketing. And as a marketing person, I should have been able to see through that, but I didn't, even though my husband even said constantly, like, you are a marketer's dream because you buy the message and you like go all in and you buy all the stuff. So yes, he was right. It took me a while to realize that. So my last piece of advice, as you're planning your exit, or maybe you have exited, when you are in that mode of desperation and you are really looking to, what do I do next? I would refrain from buying into all these different programs and all these different things and really feel into what is it that I actually really want to be doing, and not fall in love with the idea of something that actually isn't meant for you. And that will take you further, faster, and not take you years to figure it out. So one, you can't heal in the place that made you sick. Number two, your body's just going to keep screaming louder and louder at you until you listen. And number three, don't fill your time with things that aren't actually meant for you and that are not going to serve your purpose. And if you are looking for more guidance on life purpose, check out these videos from Archangel Michael.